The Employment and Labour Minister Thulasi Nxesi is addressing the media on the readiness of South Africa to host local and international delegates of the 5th Global Conference on the Elimination of Child Labour. The conference is expected to take place in less than 2 weeks in Durban. It will mobilize resources and establish a strategic direction for the global movement against child labour. Let's take you live to that briefing.
Nations General Assembly committed to ending child labour by 2025. As such, the main goal of the conference will thus be to assess progress towards achieving Goal 8.7 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. After the devastating natural disaster that befell KwaZulu-Natal and Durban in the last weeks, it's important that we go ahead and hold the conference in eThekwini as a show of support and solidarity with the people of the province and the Republic. As part of that solidarity, the conference organizers took a decision to forego the usual social events that characterize these events and donate the savings to support the people of KZN in their reconstruction program. The conference will bring together stakeholders from all over the world that will be drawn from governments, labor, business, civil society, and international organizations such as UNICEF, the Food and Agricultural Organization FAO, and the World Bank. The event will assume a hybrid format which will allow people to participate from wherever they are in the world. At least 2,500 attendees will be present or expected to be present at Nkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center, and more than 5,000 people will follow the proceedings from wherever they are on the virtual platform. We are hopeful that the hosting of the conference will bring about the needed occupancy in accommodation establishments, as well as contribute to the greater value chain of tourism and hospitality sector, especially the meeting and the conference venues which were closed for over 18 months during the COVID-19 lockdown period. The participants will engage, share best practices, advance policies, and commit to the elimination of child labour. This is in line with the commitment of the global leaders during the 2019 session of the UN General Assembly to end child labour by 2025. At the end of the conference, it is anticipated that they will adopt a document entitled the Durban Call for Action, which will commit everyone to promoting decent work, expanding educational opportunities, promoting universal social protection, and financing child labour elimination. The Director General of the Department of Employment and Labour will briefly talk to the state of readiness of the local organizing committee in receiving the dignitaries and the different delegations from the countries who will be attending the conference, and the program and the focus of the conference. The DG has not been working alone, has been working with a forum of DGs and some heads of the departments. So we do have representatives of the DGs here. That's why you also have Lieutenant General Sitlhabane, who were also part of the preparations for this particular big event. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, DG.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning to all the colleagues that are here. As indicated by the Minister, the conference takes place on the 15th to the 20th of May, and it will be held at the ICC. The ICC is the International Convention Center, which is here in KZN, Durban. The organizing team has worked tirelessly with the ICC people, and to date I can assure you that the venue itself is ready to carry just over 2,000 delegates that will be there face to face, and we expect that the total number of people that will be participating in this conference is 7,200 face to face and 5,000 virtual. And we have to date issued just over 100,000 invitations to a number of institutions, and true to the tripartite nature of the International Labour Organization, we have sent invites to 187 member states who are members of the International Labour Organization. And given the fact that the ILO in its nature and its composition is a tripartite institution, so the number of people that we have invited will obviously consist of a government delegation per country, organized labor, and organized business. So we expect that business, for instance, will be represented by at least 2 people. Organized labor will be represented by at least 2 people. So in essence, we expect 7 people from each country that will be coming to the conference. So to date, we have received confirmations that at least 4 heads of states will be participating, including our president and 2 Nobel laureates. And we will have 47 ministers. In fact, it's actually 37 ministers, and 10 of those will be the heads of delegations, so you will have 47. That will come physically, and 10 obviously will be online. So to date, we've received 1,749 confirmations online, and 943 that will be coming, have indicated that will be coming in person. So the minister spoke about the importance of this conference and what it seeks to do. We will have just over 101 speakers across 8 thematic areas. And the thematic areas will cover the following: education, because the issue of child labor involves education, and most of the time these young kids who should be working or who should be at school will be working. Secondly, it involves the crisis and climate change. In whether the crisis is political or economically, these kids are entrusted in these situations, and that's why it's important that we have a session that will deal with crisis and climate change. And social protection, it's important that we have a session dealing with social protection, because most of the time the sole reason that is provided for these kids to be working is that they need to put food on the table. And without social protection, adequate social protection, we will have child labor in perpetuity. So we also have a session that will deal with youth employment. I can't emphasize more the the importance of employment. We will have a session that will deal with financing. And often child labor, when we deal with issues of child labor, people think that it's only the government that must finance activities that are associated with child labor. So what we want to do is to bring everybody on board and see how best we can finance activities that are related to child labor. So you will have a session that will deal with that. And of course, agriculture, that's the area where child labor is most prevalent. So it's important that, again, you will have a session that will deal with, will look at how child labor is prevalent in the agricultural sector. Of course, as the changing nature, as we change, or the changing nature of our labor market, that on its own presents some vulnerabilities. And it's important that we look at those vulnerabilities, and we'll have a session that will deal with vulnerabilities. And the last one will be on global supply chains, because most of the time, young people, because of the global supply chain decisions that we take, and the existence of international businesses in our countries, you find that young people or these kids get involved in employment. So we'll have a session that will deal with how global supply chain affects child labor. Then we'll have a session that will be looking at cross-cutting issues, which will be issues relating to inequality, discrimination, tripartism and multilateralism, informality, innovation, and gender. Now, the minister indicated that the essence of this conference is a call for action. So through this conference, we challenging all the participants to take action. So we don't want this to be just a talk show. We want to, by the time we leave the conference, to have clear outcomes, and that is why in each and every day we will, working with the ILO and other social partners, we will work on the conference document that is supposed to be the outcome of the conference. On a daily basis, we'll work on it, adjust it, so that by the time the conference ends, we're ready to have that document adopted. On the first day of the conference, of course, we will have our president who will open the conference, and part of the delegation that will be sharing the stage with the president, of course, will be the Director General of the International Labour Organization, and we'll have the former Prime Minister of Sweden, and those are the dignitaries that will be gracing this conference. In terms of transport arrangement, we have everything covered. We will be making sure that everybody who's supposed to be at the conference is ferried to the conference. And of course, for every conference that you hold, there will be security-related issues. I want to assure everybody that we're working very closely with the South African police services, and they will make sure that everything is safe in terms of security. Of course, we can't tell you what that entails, but just to make sure that everything that has to do with security is under control. So, ministers, that's where we are. Of course, we will open the accreditation, and especially for the media, and you can contact Ms. Petunia Lessing. She will give you details in terms of when will that happen and how the process will unfold. So thank you very much.
you very much. Warm welcome again to those who might have just joined us online, all media houses, and physically here. That was Director General Employment and Labour giving a state of readiness. And of course, we are targeting 2,000 face-to-face attendance. Colleagues, allow me now to then invite Dr. Johnny Subayana, who is the Decent Work Team Country Office for the ILO in Pretoria, to give a message of support. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Ah, that's better. That's better. Everybody looks so sad here. Honorable Minister Thulasi, thank you again for hosting us. And the honorable ministers here present, the Director Generals, the representatives of media, senior government officials. Let me also acknowledge my colleagues from the ILO. It is a pleasure for the ILO to be associated with and to partner with the South African government in hosting the 5th Global Child Labour Conference on the elimination of child labour. This conference is organized against the background of rising figures of child labour globally and the additional challenges that have been presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. As has already been said, the global estimates on child labour for the period 2016 to 2020 show a global increase from 150 million to 260 million. But of this 160 million, more than half are on the African continent. And I think the Honourable Minister and the DG have already said this.